This video is a bit of a catch-22. I feel guilty because it's kind of a low effort, just here's what's going on right now video. But at the same time, I'd feel even worse if this whole week went by without a video because I'm here at Vidcon and it's really hard to work here. My hats off to the creators who managed to come to these events and still put out videos on their regular schedule. I have no idea how anyone would be able to do that. Anyway, this is it. I'm at Vidcon for the first time. I've been planning to come out here for years, and every year it seems something goes wrong and I have to cancel. But this year I made it my personal mission to finally come out here and meet the creators, the people that whose work I enjoy, to see what it's all about, to be right at the epicenter of where things are going on. And it's been an incredible experience for me. As I'm sure you guys know, this is not my only channel. I have a bigger channel in Portuguese because I'm from Brazil, and I've been creating content in Portuguese for a long time, and I've been lucky enough to be able to garner an audience, and I'm able to turn that into my livelihood, right? Which is, I guess, every creator's dream, to be able to live off of doing what they love, right? And while I feel privileged to have that, it's at the same time, it's like a bittersweet thing because my audience, right, the people whose work I enjoy, companies that I collaborate with, they're all in Brazil, and that makes it very hard to both monetize, to create. I have to work around their schedule. It's like my podcast, for instance. I have to work with 3 different time zones when I'm recording podcasts with my crew back home. So all of these things made me wish I had something going in the English-speaking space. And it's been a crazy journey because I've learned a lot of things that I would never have known. I mean, I should have known, but it took me actually seeing these things happening to kind of like, oh yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Like, when I do videos on technology, I get hit up by a lot of Filipinos. For some reason, the PSP is big in the Philippines right now, and my PSP videos are getting a lot of Filipino exposure. And it's interesting because when I speak in Portuguese, when I do my regular videos, I'm pretty much only speaking to Brazilians. We're the main people that speak the language. And when I'm doing these videos here, I'm talking to the world. So I'm getting to interact and learn from people from places that I never. When I'm talking to Brazilians, I know exactly who's listening to what I'm saying, and it's kind of the same thing. And in the English-speaking space, I'm interacting with the world. So this is, again, it shouldn't be a surprise, but it is. To see that in action, it's really interesting. And I gotta say, the reception I got from the guys here, it blew me away. I've been for so long used to the Brazilian way of Brazilian YouTube is a little bit different in a lot of ways. Like, for instance, when it comes to audience size, I have about 500,000 subscribers in Brazil, right? And for Brazilian standards, that's a small channel. That's like maybe a notch above small. I'm not a big guy. People see my YouTube and they see my Twitter and they assume that I'm like a huge star. I'm really not. I've been doing this for fucking ever. Like, if anything, I'm pretty small considering how long I've been doing this for. And it's interesting because here they seem to value small creators in a way that my own people don't. People with like from 50 to 100,000 subscribers, people like, hey man, this is awesome. Like, you're really coming up on YouTube. Like, my buddy Justin Wang, he's part of a community I'm also in, the listeners of The Dick Show, a podcast that I'm a big fan of. And this guy just got to 100,000 subscribers. And people are celebrating, people here are legitimately happy for him. We're messaging him and congratulating him. And I'm thinking like, man, in Brazil, I don't think people cheer, like, I don't think it's that significant to get to 100,000. People expect most like really good YouTubers to have at least that. Like, it doesn't, maybe I'm biased, maybe I'm wrong, but 100,000 to these guys here seems to me like it means a lot more than 100,000 in Brazil. Like, if anything, I get shit on by people who hate my stuff or hate me personally. They make fun of me because like, oh, that guy, like, he's been doing YouTube forever and he has like not even 500,000. Like, he didn't even make it to that, and he's been doing this for so long. What a loser. And here it's like the other, maybe I'm biased, but it seems to me like small creators are much more appreciated here. It means a lot more here, it seems, from my point of view, to have 50,000 subscribers than it means in Brazil to have 500,000. So that's a different way to look at things. It's a different way to look at my own achievements in this platform, and it makes me very excited to create more, which gets me to my second point. I have severe ADHD, and I'm not treating that at the moment because I wasn't a fan of the side effects of the medication. So, and I find that my ADHD, though it's a real problem, and I'm trying to plan for things, like my mind just wanders, it's hard to pay attention to things, to focus on tasks. but it's also who I am. It's the reason why I create so much, because I can't contain all the crazy ideas in my head, and I just like, I need an outlet for that. That's why I have like 2 channels, 2 podcasts, a website. I have a new book coming out because I put a book out last year. Anyway, I feel like I'm bragging. My point is that these incessant thoughts and need to communicate, I talk too much, is part of who I am, right? But it also makes it hard, among other challenges that this condition creates, it makes it hard to focus on one thing. And on YouTube, I find, in my experience, I may be wrong, but having one shtick, having one niche, doing the same thing is what gets you ahead. I do a lot of different things, and for my main channel, it worked, or didn't, because again, I only have 500,000, but it worked better than I think it's working on this channel, right? Like, I want to focus, like, I do a lot of tech stuff, I do a lot of, I used to do a lot of social commentary, but I find that creates a toxicity that is harming to both the creator, and it's just, I don't want to do social commentary so much anymore, because all the divisiveness, like, if I do social commentary these days, I try to be, like, take my Bully Hunters video, for instance. You'll notice I don't use the words SJW or feminist or feminazis or anything like that. Why? Because I don't want to create the divide, the us versus them. Like, they're fucking dumb. Look at this group of, like, this dumb thing is representative of the whole monolithic concept that I'm trying to attack. Let's hate on them. I'm not a fan of that, both like consuming that kind of media and creating it. So if you watch that video, you'll notice I'm not making fun of a group. I'm not saying this thing is representative of that group I don't like. I'm saying this is a dumb thing and leaving it at that. That's kind of like, I find it healthier for myself, for the people who watch it, and it's more honest, because it's so easy to see something that you don't like and say, look, that group is responsible for that. That's what everybody does. That's bias, I think, right? So I'm kind of moving away from social commentary and focusing on things that I find more positive, because, dude, like, there's good in this world. Maybe it's not the best thing to just constantly highlight the shitty things and get riled up, like that outrage. Like, that's not all that bile. That's not healthy, right? I can't be the only one who thinks that. So I'm going to try to do something more like the Bully Hunters video, which is I think is like a healthy way of doing social commentary, or the Killdozer video, which I'm really proud of that video. It didn't do the numbers that I was hoping that it would do, but I'm proud of the video. Like, on a technical standpoint, I like the script, I like the jokes, I like the editing. So, and I like that, like those kind, like that type of, like, look at this weird story, isn't that crazy? Justin Wang on YouTube, he inspired me to come back to that kind of, like, I've always loved that. My most viewed video ever on my main channel, which is just under 1 million hits, it was a story about the Elisa Lam story. It was this Vancouver student that was in LA, and she was at some hotel, Cecil Hotel, and she went missing, and she eventually turned up dead in a water tank, and there's footage of her in an elevator kind of behaving erratically. So I did a whole, like, a little mini documentary on, like, isn't that weird? And that was my most popular video ever. I did a couple follow-ups on other similar weird stories, and those were also very popular. But again, ADHD hit, and I just lost interest in, like, talking about that. Let's go back to games, let's go back to tech. And then I lost momentum. So when I put the next video in that series, it did much, like, the views were much less than what it were. My second most viewed video ever was the Marina Joyce situation. I'm not sure if you remember. She was a famous YouTuber in the UK that was acting all weird, and people started all these conspiracy theories that she had been kidnapped, and trying to parse together this theory based on, like, things that show up in the background. Turns out she was just a young girl who was fucked up a lot of the times that she was shooting videos. She was behaving weird. I did a video compiling all the evidence to show that that's really not what happened, and that video also got almost 1 million views. So I'm thinking, like, Justin Wang, like, looking at what he's doing, I'm like, I love those types of videos. I myself have done a lot of that. My website is chock full of articles on weird, unusual things that I can easily turn into scripts and put a video out in an easier way, because, like, the legwork of doing research and compiling, like, making the jokes and all that, that's already done. I only have to translate it from Portuguese to English and shoot it. So I'm gonna try to focus on that. That's content that takes a little bit longer. It's not just simply reflexively commenting on what just happened, which there's the merit on that too, if you want to keep informed and you have your favorite YouTubers that do that. I'm not trying to knock people who do this. I have lots of friends who work in that space. But I think that maybe for myself, I might see better results if I wait a little bit longer to shoot video and like do something like Killdozer video, which if you haven't seen, I recommend it. I'm gonna try to put the link in the description. I always forget to put links in the description of these things. I'm very lazy. Anyway, this is a long rambly video, but I just want to say I'm really thankful for the way I was received here. I met so many creators whose work I enjoy, and it's truly like, this is everything I wanted it to be. And since I didn't get killed yesterday, it's a win for me. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today, guys. I'm gonna try to leave the links in the description like I said, and yeah, that's it. I'm Izzy. Oh, and by the way, I guess I should say, if you see me, it sounds presumptuous of me to assume that you guys are gonna see me at Vidcon, but if you do, feel free to come say hi. Hey Rhino, good morning. How's it going, buddy?
What's going on, Izzy fans?
If you do see me at the, I was recognized by a guy, so I was blown away by that. And there was the local Calgary creators who I bumped into, but they already know who I am, so that doesn't count. But if you happen to see me, come talk. Like, and this goes for every creator. I think I feel confident enough to say this. All of us, we love meeting the fans. That's the reason we come out here. So. People, like, this happens more when I go to Brazil, where I have a larger audience. People, like, they walk up and they're very sheepishly like, Izzy, do you mind if I take a picture? I'm like, absolutely, I want to take a picture with you, dude. Like, this is awesome. Like, I love that you guys like what I do. Of course, I'm honored that you want to take a picture. So feel free, walk up to us, talk to us. Like, this is what we're here for. Anyway, that's all the time I have for today. I'm Izzy, and I'm done. Ryan, are you done too?
I'm done. Going back to bed.